Okay. Yeah, we're here. And we're already having a bit of a
It's
laugh.
not recording. Oh, it is
No, it
recording.
is recording. So
Okay.
here on the Freedom Experiment, episode number 7, I have a lovely old friend, Georgia, here, who is an amazing cellist. Did I say that right, Georgia?
Yeah,
Cellist?
that's right.
Cellist,
Sure.
and a cello teacher. I've seen her live perform many times, and she's really amazing. And she's also a facilitator of Moving Connections, which is dance and vocal work and movement, and it's a very freeing experience. I've experienced some of those workshops also, and yeah, really feel like it's in line with what I'm trying to get out there with this freedom experiment. So welcome, Georgia. How are you?
Great. Yes, I'm pretty well. I mean, I'm a little sick, which is interesting in these current times, but I'm really excited to be here talking about freedom, and yeah, really excited to see what's going to come out of this discussion. So,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good to, I suppose, bring up the times we're in, which is seems maybe a bit of struggling with the virus, and I still think that this is relevant to people, and maybe even more so with the general vibe around the cities and stuff. And I think that we can maybe spend this time of maybe, I don't know what I'm trying to say if it's sounding right, but I'm just trying to bring a bit of life and a bit of inquiry into maybe this time that we've got together, and more time to be a bit more inward. So I'll start with just asking what freedom is to you, Georgia.
Well, I was thinking about that, funnily enough, and whilst I like to just come up with something on the spot, what dropped in just before was freedom is a practice. And the more I practice, the more free I become. So for me, I do a lot of artistic improvisation, whether that's vocally or with cello or with dance, and with speaking. Like I've been exploring all different forms to express within. Interplay has been one thing that came into my life that showed me, or that gave me a place to see that it's just creative energy, and you can choose whatever form it wants to show through. So I've been exploring lots of different forms, and the more that I practice freedom within myself, within my own coordination, quality of movement, choices, the more choices I have in the moment when there's like an audience or people that are really present and listening to what's about to come out, because I don't know what's about to come out. So it's like that moment of that feeling of being flying or in a big expansive wild space, but it's in a moment. It doesn't have to be in a natural expansive place. It can be in an interaction with two people, or with you plus an audience. And particularly, like, I mean, I find a lot of freedom with dance, so freedom of movement. With my research and background in exploring coordination and quality of movement through the Alexander technique and through playing a musical instrument and dancing, it's just, there's endless opportunity to discover how we can make that more free, or how much more I can open to see what's actually there in front of me, so that I can have choice in the moment of what to do next. So I don't, not freaking out because I've got, there's no script, I don't know what to do. It's like, oh cool, I'm free of a script. so what am I going to choose? What excites me? I think it's pleasure as well. It's like pleasure in this moment opens our whole system to see more what's around us, to hear what's around us, to smell, and to just become more present, and to have more access to choice that is out of free will rather than out of any obligation. So
Wow.
that's my current definition of what freedom means to me.
Wow, that's a really nice way to put all those things. So what I'm hearing is you're feeling in the action, in the creative action, is where you almost feel the freest. Is that maybe a good representation of what you're
definitely.
saying?
Yeah. It's like that integration of bodily movement and experience and all the senses, not just five, but all of you, in service of this process that you can enter into that will access other people's senses and emotions and communicate something that you can't necessarily speak with words.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has this come from like some training that maybe would have been more structured, like it sounds with like your music training, because of maybe what you've learned, then that has allowed this freedom of expression and improvisation with all those skills? Does that sort of feel aligned?
Yeah, it's a great question for like sort of my life story. So I basically never improvised musically until like the year after my university. So I started playing cello when I was 8 years old and played right through until after school, and then I decided to train classically through university. So 4 years of classical training at university, which was very, very structured and disciplined, and it was all about building in that discipline to just show up to practice, and we were all practicing for freedom. Like, we want to be so skilled with our instrument that the instrument is no longer an obstacle to our expression. So it was sort of all dedicated to freedom, but the approach was very, very structured and easily can tip over into full-on anxiety and tension and lack of an idea of choice. Like, you just think, I just want to please the audience, or I just want to please my teacher. So there's so many pitfalls in the practice, which is also, I mean, right now I'm just making that connection to what's currently happening with the virus. It's like, there's whatever thought you think, then your whole system responds to that. So if you buy in to excess fear, it can be restrictive rather than, being educated on what precautions to take so that you have, so that you can stay safe and free. So anyway, that was just a little link. But that through the process of that, I did gain a high level of skill, and it was very tricky, very challenging, like, to be able to, say, do a shift with, like, so a shift meaning like moving from this note to this note and being able to nail that note in tune, good sound, vibrato, whatever. That takes weeks of practice. And then I discovered 5 rhythms. I went on a trip to New York, and it was a music trip, but part of the program was a 5 rhythms class. And this amazing woman, she was so inspiring. She played viola in the New York Philharmonic and was a 5 rhythms teacher. And she taught us 5 rhythms without much music, but just really walking us through each of the rhythms, which is flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And we were music students, so she was really putting that into terms that we could understand from our prior training. And I think I was the only one in the room who was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, guys, like, whoa. And everyone else was like, oh, I don't want to move my body, I'm too shy. Like, I felt like I was just like going for it. I didn't care, because she was giving me access to expression without needing to know a technique to be able to express. It's like, oh, it's my body, it's me. I'm already an instrument that's perfect. So I can move this way and express that, and that's immediate. It's already there. So yeah, I was totally hooked. And when I went down the stairs from that very first workshop, I remember this so clearly. It was just like this moment of being like, oh, I don't have to walk down these stairs. I can dance down these stairs. So,
just imagine you with your jazz hands, just like
yeah.
woo, everywhere,
Yeah,
and you're just like Midas touch.
I was like spinning around and just like so
wow,
present to this moment of going down the stairs towards my practice room, which I'd been spending the last 5 days in, working on this one piece, and then I went to play, and I felt like my mind just exploded. I was like, oh my god, it was like the first time I'd ever played cello and ever heard that piece of music. It was so cool. I was just so attentive to like the choice to move in each tiny way. Like, it's not that you learn how to do it and that's the way. It's actually like every single moment is a new movement. And so the quality of presence and aliveness that brought my experience of the music was profound. And I was just like, okay, I got to find a 5 rhythms teacher when I get back to Australia. And I did, and luckily there was 2 classes a week. So I would go twice a week, and each time I just had such amazing epiphanies and would often be in tears on the dance floor, just unraveling all of the holding patterns and stuff that was stored in my body that was so ready to be seen and felt and released, because I had a lot of numbness. I just would just push on, mind over matter kind of thing, like gotta practice, So now, yeah, I've been dancing for a while and facilitating movement workshops, not 5 rhythms or open floor, but maybe one day I'll do that training, I'm not sure. But I just created my own workshops and love it. Really love it. So yeah, I'm gonna I could just keep talking. You know, if
it's
you don't
fine.
interrupt me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I'm like, it's okay. If something comes through, I'm interviewing you about freedom. I get my chance to talk about freedom whenever I want. So, and this is really, really different to how I access what we're talking about. So I am really engaged and interested, and yeah, it's really beautiful to hear. Pretty much how you're shifting your reality, I suppose, which I'm all about shifting reality. And I've gone to India, or I go to deep meditation retreats to shift this reality, whereas you're accessing it in a different way and coming to that present moment where we're all creative, right? We create in all these different ways. So it's just so nice to hear. So how's the facilitation going in so this is Moving Connections you're talking about, where you facilitate people to access pretty much what you're talking about through different modalities, is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, when I hold a workshop, I've noticed through the process of coming into facilitation that people just want to do what you say. Like, as a teacher, I noticed when I first started doing it that like the desire to please the teacher was so strong in everyone. Like, whatever I'd say, they'd just sort of immediately do it rather than think or like feel into what they wanted, if they wanted to do that or not. So what I want to bring out in others is this like taking ownership of their own immediate experience and choices. So like, how do you teach freedom? And in the process of that, I realized that if because I would create these awesome plans for the workshops, like all these different exercises and how they would flow in, and this would prepare this person for this and this, and it would lead to this big thing. And I would just love to create that plan and bring in all the elements that I love. And just a little side note, they started off as contact improv workshops, and then
what's contact improv, just briefly?
So contact improv is when you're moving in contact with another person. It's all improvised dance, so you can roll that point of contact, you can share weight, give weight, receive weight. It can just be a finger, or it could be your whole back. You could be lifted up, or it could just be even exploring that negative space as well. But yeah, so it's about listening to another body. It's about having your own center of gravity, and then when you're in contact, you're actually sharing that center of gravity, and it's a way of listening through your whole self to another person's gravity and choices. So yeah, I'm really into that. It's really it just gets me into this awesome state of flow, and it's really influenced my music a lot. When I play with other people, it's a very similar feeling to contact dancing with another person. And I remember the first time I had a contact dance, the next day I had a quartet rehearsal, and I was just like, oh my God, guys, we're dancing here. And they were just like, what? We're just doing what we always do. And I'm like, no, but I've had this experience. And like, it's anyway, I wanted to start teaching it to my whole quartet, but they weren't that keen.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the workshops. There's this, people want connection, right? We want to connect with others. We want to be seen, we want to see others, and we want to come to a place of resonance where we're resonating on the same wavelength. Contact can give you that, but if you immediately go for that, then you're going off your center of balance and gravity. And a term from Alexander technique is end gaining, where we want to get that end, so we go straight to the end rather than like reasoning out a process towards which we can get that. So I could see that this was starting to happen in the workshop. Like my very first workshop, people were just like, all right, cool. And they just did exactly what I said. And I'm like, wait, no, I want you to decide to do it. So I noticed that if I was like too attached to my plan for the session, then I would be trying to end game the whole group. I wouldn't be meeting the group where they were. I'd be hoping that they would fit into this idea that I've planned for them. So I realized, and throughout a process of experimentation, now what I do before my workshops is I just list all the tools I have and all the possible things. I just write pages and pages of ideas, and I don't link them together anymore. They just become tool bags. And once I just didn't do anything. I didn't write it down. That was probably the best one. So in the moment, I can meet the group and create as if I'm painting with the group. It's like, who are my ingredients? Like, who's showed up? And where are they? And what are they needing? And through my training with Alexander technique, which is
concisely tell me what that is. Just a little side joke. I don't know what Alexander technique is, and I've tried to ask Georgia what it is for about 2 years now, and I still can't. I don't know if it's my own limited mind of what it is, or if Georgia's still holding on to what it is and not telling me something. Let's see if she can nail it right here in 20 seconds.
Okay, all right. Ooh, pressure.
No, it's okay.
It's a good question, really. So it's about learning about our responses, about human responses to a stimulus, and what makes it unique to any other process is the focus on what Alexander called primary control, which is the relationship between your head and spine. So we're working with the central nervous system and freeing up the relationship between the head and the spine, so that we can have access to all of our senses and how our nervous system can function with the reflex responses that are our birthright. So we tend to get in the way of our natural good use, like say look at a toddler and how beautifully they move, and then they get along the way these ideas, I'm too short, I'm too you know, all these beliefs get in the way, and even just ideas of like my arm, if I believe my arm starts here, I'll move it in a way that's a little bit more limited than if I know that the bone to bone joint of the arm is here, so then I've got all this movement available to me. So it's, yeah, we work with spatial mapping and things like that. So
I can actually join you. I can actually understand a bit more now. I got it.
Wonderful. Oh wow.
That's great. Yeah. I can make the connection.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're looking at quality of movement, and so with my training of that, I can look at a room of people and see sort of where they're holding and what, you know, I'm looking at the whole person rather than just the shoulder or the knee or something. It's like, this is a whole being that's come here, and we can work on specifics, but they're always within the relationship to the whole. So it's really about a holistic way of being in the world, not just mind, not just body. They're inextricably linked, and how can we cooperate with that in a conscious and kind and constructive way, so that we can use ourselves as like vessels for what we're here for. Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing in the world? And how can you tune your own instrument, which is yourself, to better serve whatever you're doing, whatever action you want to do in the world. Yeah.
Wow, this is so deep. Like what you're doing, it's so nice to hear the depth of what you go through to facilitate these classes. Because, as you know, I've been to a few, and yeah, the last one, I did feel like I'd been meditating for 4 days. Like, it was such a empowering feeling of presence that I felt for not just straight after, but like the whole couple of days afterwards. So I really feel like there's a lot of depth in the work that you're doing, and definitely what you're describing is what I'm trying to articulate also, with this sense of freedom and this present moment that is always talked about. And I think that your practices that you're embodying and also facilitating is feeling it all in the body, and sort of letting everything go in a different way than maybe I would do in teaching meditation or yoga or inquiring. So it's just so healthy and so needed, I think, so needed. And I think having that space that you create to, as you say, just express the body however it needs to, or the vocals or whatever, it's really powerful, really powerful.
And then when that's shared with others as a group, the witnessing. The witnessing is huge. It really doesn't matter what we do, it's just how we do it. And that's what I want to teach in the classes. Like, how can we practice that right now? It's already connected by being in one room together. So are you cooperating with that, or are you making yourself smaller? Or are you shutting yourself out from this connection that's already there? So just inviting. And when I was thinking before about what is freedom, and I realized the practice is over time in incremental stages. So the more that you practice that, the more freedom you have access to. And now I don't even get nervous for getting up in front of like heaps of different people and not knowing what I'm about to do next. Like I've got dance, cello, vocals, speaking, and it's all just different tools. at my disposal. I'm not so attached to this idea of like, I'm a cellist and this is what a cellist is. It's actually like, oh yeah, that's a tool I have and something that I can put in a lot of work into to be the best I can be, but it's also not all I am. So yeah, just by going horizontal, I guess, and exploring all these other art forms, it's enriched. It enriches that moment that I come back to the cello, and I've got more of me available to express what's more true, not just what I think I should be expressing, but like, how can we get more honest? Like, what is actually here?
Authenticity, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really good, Georgia.
I mean, anytime.
Yeah. What inspires you? What inspires all of this? Do you have some teachers or some things that inspire you?
Yeah, so many teachers. I have so many teachers. Yeah, I've been really blessed to have a lot of teachers in my life. Even the teachers in school. My art was my favorite subject in school, visual art, and my art teacher was so committed. If we needed anything, she would go and source the material for us. Yeah, so starting right from school, I've had great teachers. Everyone I ever dance with is a big teacher. If I show up to a weekly dance class, everyone on the floor is there to teach me. Showing it's a mirror. It shows you where you're judging and where you're attracted to, where you're repulsed from, and can I let that go and just see them all as humans? That's my practice. Is like, how can I get rid of the personality and just connect as part of one big organism of humans in one room? And so that's a beautiful teaching of my life. Yeah, and then also long-term teachers like the Alexander teacher in Sydney, Greg Holdaway, has been super inspiring, and my cello teacher at uni was an amazing source of learning for a long time and continues to be. And just friendships. I mean, I really see everyone is a teacher.
Yeah, it's good wisdom right there. Very good wisdom to look at it like that. It's very freeing to see everything, every situation and every person as your teacher, and there's always something that's trying to reconnect you back to the organism, as you put it, or yourself, or the true self, or the oneness that we all seem to experience and express in different ways.
One thing I need to add to that is Earth, Mother Earth, the elements.
Pachamama. Yeah.
Pachamama, yeah. Just it's been so healing for me to take it outside, to connect. So it's getting cool.
It's okay.
To connect with what I see. I remember when I was in Doom, where you've been living in the past as well, I would take my cello and look at this amazing view of the valley and just play cello for the changing light and the bird that flies across the landscape, and just every moment it's all changing, and it was like that was my score that I would play 4 and 2 and 3. Yeah. Wow. Oh, and yeah, just like literally the ground is my teacher.
Just connecting to the earth. Yeah. Do you have any, maybe for people listening, do you have any ways that they could access this connection to earth, or this connection to freedom, or this way to create, or this way to express, or maybe just something, if something comes through? If it doesn't, it's okay.
Yeah. Just thinking about the ground and how it always always holding us. It's no matter whether you're giving your weight to the ground or not, if you're holding off the ground's still got you. So you might as well just be held and allow Mother Earth to just take all those positive ions and just give you some negative ions in return, and just open to that dialogue and that give and receive of energy through your feet, through your back, lying on it. It's amazing. If I'm really, really tired, I'll just lie down, maybe set a timer for 5 minutes, or I'll have had enough by 5 minutes, just being on the ground, not even meditating, but just being on the ground. That is meditating, but receiving from the ground. And in terms of like what you can do for expression, freedom of expression, it's a huge one that everyone wants. Like I see when I say I'm a cellist or a musician or a dancer, wow, you know, they kind of have an element of jealousy, I could see in their eyes, or just a desire, a longing, more of a longing. Jealousy is no protection. Just a longing for, oh yeah, I want to express, I want to do that too. So what I say to that is, you can, and you are. Like people say, I'm not a singer, I'm not a drawer, I'm not a dancer. You are actually. So, you know, if you move, you dance. You can just change your perspective. Like in the morning coffee ritual, how could you make that a dance? Not for anyone else's sake. Dance is not for a performance or to please anyone else. It's for your own joy, for your own pleasure. How can I allow a little bit more pleasure into each moment? And that's the beginning of your artistic expression as an artist. You are an artist. So so often we think that it's about doing stuff. Do, get out, perform and do. But that's like really stress, like it's really intense and it's not receiving. Lately, I've had some amazing experiences in performing where I've moved myself. Like the last performance I did on Saturday, I was as moved by my performance as the whole audience was. So I was actually receiving. Yeah, I was just receiving what was happening. It was just sort of coming through me because I was tuned up and open and ready and willing to sit in that vulnerable place of not knowing, and just witnessing them witnessing me. It was this cool feedback loop, and I was really just expressing from my.
We've lost her. Oh, technical difficulties. That was probably about it anyway. So I'll probably call it there, which is, that was my last question, and she just answered it in depth. So I think I'll call it there for episode 7. Thank you so much for listening. That was Georgia Shine. She is, an amazing woman doing amazing things, helping people access freedom through multitudes of modalities. That was a bit of a tongue twister for me, multitude modalities. So, she's doing Moving Connections, which is what she's facilitating. And I'm sure you could see her maybe one of her live shows once as well. And I'll put all the links down the bottom. So thank you so much for listening tonight. Well, it's tonight for me. So whatever day it is or night that you're listening to this. And keep tuning in. We are getting a bit more clearer with what the Freedom Experiment is about and what the message is trying to give you. And thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one.